So we've got Food Network magazine. This is the Big Thanksgiving Cookbook. 84 foolproof recipes, it's advertised. And this is the November 2021 issue already. So in November, what days do we have to make special note of? Well, the holidays are coming. Get in the spirit with watching Holiday Baking Championship tonight at 7 p.m. on Food Network. And on the 2nd, which is a Tuesday, whip up a Mexican hot chocolate. Just sprinkle chili powder and cinnamon on top and add a cinnamon stick. On the 4th, it says the Festival of Lights begin today, so decorate the mango leaves. They symbolize for good fortune. On the 6th, it says give the seltzer a weekend upgrade. Serve in a flute with a sprig of rosemary, sage, or thyme, and a dash of bitters. Bitters. On the 7th of November, daylight savings time ends, so you get an extra hour to get ahead on pies and make the dough on page 109. On the 9th, it says it's sweet potato season, so turn them into fries. And it talks about baking the fries. And on the 11th, in honor of Veterans Day, bake something special for a veteran. On the 12th, step up your happy hour snacks with crackers marinated in artichoke hearts, Parmesan, Prosciutto, and Argouda. On the 15th, it says it's never too late or too early to decorate a gingerbread house. You can do that at the Food Network Gingerbread Competition at 8 p.m. Okay, there's a birthday by Cardia Brown, and her famous recipe of mac and cheese is on page 70 in the book. On the 18th, it's just a week away from making cranberry sauce tonight, it says on the 18th, so getting prepared for Thanksgiving. On the 20th, you're supposed to throw a Friendsgiving party and make, they say, I don't do liquor and stuff like that, so that's it. The 22nd is the turkey countdown begins. Get your frozen birds into the fridge. You'll need 24 hours thawing time for every 5 pounds. On the 23rd, mix up your own pumpkin pie spice. It says that's 1 tablespoon cinnamon plus 2 teaspoons ginger and 1/2 teaspoon each of allspice, cloves, and nutmeg. On the 24th, bring out that bird and check out the recipes on page 79. 25th of November is Thanksgiving. It says Happy Thanksgiving. If you need a last-minute app, wrap up the basil and roasted red peppers and skewer with toothpicks. On the 26th, gear up for Black Friday with a superfood snack. Toss the hot popcorn with olive oil and nutritional yeast. On the 28th, it's almost December, so make sure that you see what pro cake artists are making, like on Buddy vs. Duff on holidays on 8 p.m. Eastern. On the 29th, use your Hanukkah gelt to make sure that you have after-dinner mochas this week. Pour hot coffee over unwrapped gelt and stir to melt. On the 30th, one big holiday month down, treat yourself with white chocolate and pumpkin s'mores. And we start celebrating. Did you know that November is Native American Heritage Month? And there's a few ways to honor it. Buy a book. Mix a mocktail. Make a snack. Take a trip, go shopping, and I'm not going to read the whole thing because I want you to pick up the book. Okay, going forward. Here we go. This is fun. Puree Genius. Canned pumpkin has been a holiday shortcut for nearly 100 years. Let's give thanks. Sure, you could cut open a pumpkin, scrape out the seeds and pulp, and make the flesh and puree it yourself to make a pumpkin pie. But you could also do what almost every chef and home cook does and open a can. When Libby's canned pumpkin hit the market in the 1920s, pumpkin pie became a heck of a lot easier to make. And once the company started printing its now famous pie recipe on the back of its cans in 1950, well, a bona fide Thanksgiving star was born. Today, Libby's, based in Morton, Illinois since 1929, is still the biggest name in canned pumpkin, and it produces 85% of canned pumpkin in America, enough to make roughly 90 million pumpkin pies every year. Meanwhile, the famous pumpkin pie recipe on the can has been many family go-to generations. In 2019, the company daringly introduced a recipe for new fashion pumpkin pie made with sweetened condensed milk, claiming it results a creamier pie. Loyal fans were not impressed, but they couldn't complain. Libby's kept the original recipe on every can, too. Can you believe that Libby's is not technically pumpkin? Or at least not the pumpkin you're imagining. The only ingredient in the can of Libby's is a strain of golden flesh Dickinson squash, which is thicker and creamier than the flesh that's inside a typical jack-o'-lantern. The FDA has okayed the use of the term pumpkin. Canned pumpkin is good for dogs. It's high in fiber, low in fat, so it's a popular treat for pups. It can even help with digestion. Just make sure not to confuse the pure pumpkin with the canned pumpkin pie filling. The pie filling contains sugar, spices, and other add-ins that aren't good for the furry friends. Pumpkin shortages are real. Poor harvest in Illinois resulted in canned pumpkin shortage in 2009, with Libby's largely absent from the shelves around Thanksgiving. Panic ensued, and fears of another shortage tend to surface every few years. By Francisca Chocati. Star approved. These Food Network chefs are big fans. Canned pumpkin is sure one of the store-bought items that compares to homemade. I use it in my Thanksgiving Day pies. Trisha Yearwood. Mama ain't got time to make homemade pumpkin puree. I'm canned all the way. Katie Lee Beagle. I love using canned pumpkin for pumpkin bread and pasta sauces. It's an instant fall in a can. Molly Yay. Okay, going forward. Excellent recipes, like they said, but I'm going to just stick to a little something sweet. Mix up your holiday dessert. Spread out a tray of bite-sized treats. For sugared cranberries, bring 1 cup each water and sugar to a boil in a small saucepan. Add 1 cup cranberry and a few strips of lemon zest. Then remove the heat and let the cool drain. Thinly slice the zest and put 1/2 cup granulated sugar in a pie plate. Add the cranberries and the zest and toss and let it set for 1 hour, shaking the dish occasionally. Chocolate dipped apple rings. Finely chop 8 ounces of semi-sweet chocolate. Microwave 3/4 of chocolate and 1 teaspoon shortening in a 30-second interval, stirring until melted. Then stir in the remaining chocolate until smooth. Dip dried apple rings in chocolate, transfer to parchment-lined baking sheet coated with cooking spray, and chill until set. Candied ginger. Fill in any gaps on your tray with candied ginger or dried fruit like figs or apricots. Pumpkin pie squares. Slice a chilled pre-made pumpkin pie into 1-inch squares. Top each square with a dollop of whipped cream. Candied pecans. Bring 3/4 cup each sugar and water to a boil in a small saucepan. Add 1 cup pecans and simmer until glossy. About 5 minutes, remove the slotted spoon and place on a parchment-lined baking sheet and let it cool. Dulce de leche petite voix. Trim the crust off a thawed frozen pound cake, then slice lengthwise 1/4 inch thick. Stack 3 slices and with dulce de leche in between. Repeat with the remaining pound cake. Cut 1-inch squares and dip one side of each melted white chocolate. Sprinkle with cocoa powder until set. And I cannot believe it took all that time for my cat Sonic here to come find me. Usually one of them, if not both, are in here while I'm with y'all. I'll be honest. Okay. They give a great recipe for classic apple pie and a great recipe for apple pie cake. I'll let you get the magazine, and I'll just wet your whistle with that. Be sure to pick up the Big Thanksgiving Day Food Network magazine for November 2021. You won't regret it. Next up, one more magazine to review tonight, and we'll make it jiffy.